Hello my friends, and welcome back to the Microphonic Designs YouTube channel. If you are a band director, a percussion director, or really anyone who runs a marching band program, and you happen to be shopping for microphones for your ensemble, whether that's to use electronics for the first time, or maybe you're upgrading microphones from the ones that you previously had, you'll probably have noticed that if you started your search, there's just a ton of microphone options on the market. So in this video, we're going to take a look at just a few of my favorites that I've used with a good number of groups that have gotten really good results with these microphones, and I'm hoping that you'll find this narrowed down list useful as a starting point for your search, for your investment, for your group. So the first mic that we have is a classic. It's been around for a long time, and I don't have one here in person, but I've got a picture of it. This is the Shure SM57. So the SM57 is, it's probably the most well-known, well-used microphone in the world, basically. It's extremely durable. It's a powerhouse mic, and it's a dynamic microphone. So that means it does not require phantom power to work. You just plug it into your mixer, turn the gain up to the appropriate spot, and you're ready to go. Now, out of the box, this microphone does not come with a shock mount, which is something that you would really want to have if you're going to mount this underneath, a marimba, a vibraphone, any of your keyboard instruments. You'd really want to put this into a shock mount that's big enough to hold it. And that's because, if you hard clip a microphone into a clamp, and then that clamp is attached to the keyboard frame, it's just going to pick up a lot of frame noise. And even with using an equalizer in a soundboard, it's going to be really hard to completely get rid of the frame noise. So purchasing some extra shock mounts to mount these in would really be the way to go. I've also seen people use the bungee cord method, where they take a couple bungee cords and basically hang this underneath. And then there's one other sort of suspension solution called the mic net that I don't actually know if it works with the 57, but it is something that you can look into. Now, the 57 is what's called an end address microphone, and this is really important because the way that the 57 picks up sound, it's directional, so it only picks up sound from where it's pointed at. And it's important to note that it's like directional side is the end of it. So I have the sister microphone. This is the SM58 by Shure, and if we take off the top capsule, it looks almost just like a 57. But yeah, when you have this underneath the instrument, you want to point this towards the sound source. So if it's underneath a marimba or a vibraphone, you're just going to hang it, and the top part's going to point up, and then the cable comes down out the bottom. Pretty straightforward. Again, super durable. You can throw these things around and it'll probably still work. It's just it's a timeless microphone that has worked for a lot of people, and at $100, it's really good. It's a really good bang for your buck. So you cannot go wrong with the 57. Now, if you want to move up in sound detail, so a dynamic microphone isn't going to be as crisp or clear in general as what's known as a condenser microphone. So the next mic that I have for you is from a company called Audio-Technica. And this is probably one of the more popular microphones for marching band here in Texas. And I actually happen to have a couple of these. This is the Audio-Technica AT2035, and I'm actually recording through one. I've got two of them. I got one for my boom arm, and then an extra here. And so this microphone is what's known as a large diaphragm condenser microphone. So on the inside there's a little disc. You can see it, reflecting some of the light from my computer screen. And that little disc is what picks up sound. And just like the SM57, it is directional. And the front of it with the logo is the side that picks up sound. So the opposite side with the model number and these little extra markings, this rejects sound. So it does not pick up sound from this side. Because it's a condenser microphone, it does require phantom power to work. So if you're looking into these for your group, make sure that your mixing board has phantom power functionality. Some analog mixing boards do not. Most of them do, but just in case, double check your mixer does that. If you're using a Yamaha TF console or pretty much any modern digital console, you're going to have phantom power. You'll be able to use one of these no problem. Now, the 2035 does come with a dedicated shock mount out of the box, which is really nice. And it looks like this, and it's real simple and straightforward. You put the mic in there. I think it goes this way. There actually is a right way to put these in. Clicks into place, and you're good to go. So, underneath a marimba and vibraphone, you would have like a mic stem that comes off the bottom, and then you'd clamp that to the railing underneath and make sure that the logo side is pointed up. One thing that's really nice to have paired with the 2035 is a windscreen, and Audio-Technica does make a large foam windscreen that goes with the 2035. It does not come in the box. It is a separate item, so they're not paired together out of the box, and they're kind of expensive. These things are like $45 a pop, but they're so worth it. If you're going to use a condenser microphone outside, and some people don't agree with doing that, but if you're going to, it's really, really highly recommended that you use a windscreen, because these types of microphones are so much more sensitive than something like the 57 or the 58 by Shure. So again, if you're going to invest in the 2035, highly recommend getting a windscreen to go along with it. And another notable feature of the 2035, you'll probably, hopefully you can see it here, it's got these little switches on the back, and they're really small so that they don't get knocked around by accident. But we have switches here where we can activate a low cut filter, which is really helpful for eliminating wind noise and helping the shock mount get rid of frame noise from the instrument. And then we also have a pad attenuator. So this basically reduces the amount of signal getting sent out by their microphone. That might be really helpful if you're going to use this for a wind soloist. Maybe you're going to put a trumpet player in front of this, and it happens to be a really good student, really good player, and they're just going to wail the solo. You might activate the -10 switch on this to make sure that the signal coming out of the microphone isn't too hot for the mixer to handle. And on that note, this microphone is really great for pretty much any wind instrument that you might put in front of it. You probably would hardwire this into your snake or your mixer on the sideline, where you might have the student soloist come up, to the front to play their solo. But there are ways that you can attach this or pair it with a wireless microphone pack and do it that way. But again, you definitely would not attach this to an instrument. You'd have it on a stand or something like that. So the 2035, the AT2035 by Audio-Technica, awesome microphone. This is pretty much used by almost every group that I work with here in Texas. So it's a great choice. Might be a little hard to come by right now in early 2022. I know that production from Audio-Technica is a little bit behind. That could change. I could be wrong right now as I'm saying it, but it's just a great mic to use. Another really good one that's very similar to the Audio-Technica is it's the P220 by AKG. So let me get that one pulled up. So this microphone, it's almost identical to the one that we just looked at, except it's by a company called AKG. You'll see that it does have the low frequency roll-off switch and a little pad switch, just like the Audio-Technica does. But it does come with a little bit nicer of a storage case. I believe the inside of this is like, it's like standard foam or whatever. And it also comes with a dedicated shock mount. Now, one of the things I really like about this microphone and this particular shock mount is that the microphone actually threads into the shock mount. So it screws in with threads, and it's just super stable and super secure going underneath a marching instrument, especially if you're going to leave the microphones on for the duration of the season. I mean, with the AT2035, I've never ever had an issue of, as long as it's in the shock mount properly, I've never had one of those fall out, but this AKG P220 definitely is not going to fall out because it has the threads. The shock mount itself is also made of metal, or at least a metallized plastic. It's very sturdy. I know it looks a little fragile, but it's quite a robust build. I actually recommended this microphone for one of my clients last year. They outfitted all of their vibraphones with them, and I fell in love with it. It's a fantastic alternative. I don't even want to call it an alternative. It's just a fantastic choice alongside the AT2035. Just like with the AT2035, it's a side address, large condenser, large diaphragm condenser microphone, so Again, it will need phantom power, and it will need to be like the side of it pointed at wherever your sound source is. But I really dig the shock mount, even though it's a little bit bigger. It's just super stable and super secure. Now, the last microphone that I have for you here is actually a stereo pair. So there's a company called Samson, and they make this microphone package called, it's the C02, the CO2, but it is a zero, just in case you're going to search for it. And a stereo pair basically means that when you open the box, when you order it, there's two of the same microphone in there, which is perfect for miking marimbas. It's perfect if you've got, an even number of vibraphones. And these are definitely on the more affordable side. So I think the last I checked, this particular microphone package box, I think was at about $130, I want to say. And again, you get a little storage case, you got the pair of microphones, and it comes with sort of a version of shock mount. It's a sort of what I might call a clip style shock mount, where it would still probably be better to get a shock mount that has the little, bungee ties or whatever to really isolate the microphone. But for what you get with these, I mean, if you're a band on a budget, or certainly, perhaps a group that's never used microphones before, these are a great way to go. I mean, they might not be, as top quality as some other things, but you're still going to get a great sound. You get the shock mounts, you get the stereo pair, and it's just super affordable. So, I think in terms of what you're getting for the price, it's about adequate. Another nice thing about the CO2 package is that you do get little windscreens. I mean, they're tiny, but they'll work in a pinch, and they should they're better than nothing, that's for sure. So the SM57, the Audio-Technica AT2035, the AKG P220, and the Samson C02 microphones are just a few of my favorites. Hopefully that list will get you started. Again, if you're starting to shop for mics for this upcoming marching season, again, I know there's a ton out there. Other microphones would probably work for band just fine, but these are a few of the ones that I've used that I really like and that I think hit a few different price points for whatever your budget may be. As always, I welcome you and invite you to reach out to me, contact me with any questions you might have about microphones for your marching band or pretty much any other audio-related topic. I'm here to help make sure that you have the right stuff so you can focus on teaching instead of troubleshooting. So check it out, microphonicdesigns.com. I really appreciate you tuning in and checking out some microphones with me. I actually had to re-record this last part of the video because something weird happened with the audio. But I'd love to remind you to drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more marching audio related content. And I will certainly see you in the next one.